Blood tastes like copper and fear. Luna knows this now intimately as she stumbles through the darkness of the blackthorn forest, her bare feet tearing against frozen earth. The winter storm screams around her like a living thing, ice crystals cutting her cheeks, wind howling its accusation through skeletal branches overhead. Her breath comes in ragged gasps, white clouds of panic dissolving into the black air. Behind her, they're coming. She can hear them, the hunting party. Wolves baying for her blood, their rage riding the wind like poison. They want her dead. They want her erased. And maybe, she thinks as she clutches her bleeding side, maybe they're right to want it. The wound throbs with each heartbeat, hot and wet beneath her trembling fingers. Claws. Alpha Marcus's claws, raking across her ribs when she'd finally fought back, when she'd finally said no to the suffering, no to the abuse, no to being nothing. The fabric of her servant's dress, threadbare, worthless, clings to the injury, and she knows she's leaving a trail. Blood in the snow. Desperation marked in crimson. She doesn't know where she's running. Only that she has to move, has to survive, has to escape the packhouse that's been her prison for 7 years. 7 years of servitude. 7 years of being less than nothing, the Omega they kept locked away, the broken girl they'd rather forget existed. 7 years of whispers, cursed, dangerous, better off dead. The mark on her left shoulder blade burns. It always burns when she's terrified, when the thing inside her, that wild, uncontrollable power, tries to claw its way to the surface. She can feel it now, pressing against her ribs like a second heart, begging to be released. But she can't. She won't. The last time she'd let it out, when she was 12 years old, she'd nearly killed someone. Nearly burned down the entire Omega quarters with silver flame that shouldn't exist, that marked her as something wrong, something twisted. Find her. The voice cuts through the storm, sharp and merciless. Beta Garrett. Of course he'd lead the hunt. He'd always hated her most, always been the first to strike, the first to remind her she was nothing. The Omega doesn't get far. She's bleeding out. Luna's legs nearly give out, but she forces herself forward. The forest is endless, a labyrinth of shadows and ice. Her nightgown, the only thing she'd been wearing when she'd fled, is soaked through, clinging to her shivering body like a death shroud. She's so cold. So cold she can barely feel her fingers anymore, can barely think past the animal instinct screaming at her to hide, to survive, to live. A root catches her foot and she crashes down, her palms slamming into snow and stone. Pain explodes through her wrists. For a moment, she can't move, can't breathe. She lies there, face pressed against the frozen ground, and wonders if this is where it ends. If this is where Luna, the cursed Omega, the girl nobody wanted, finally stops running. But then she hears it. A sound that doesn't belong to the hunting party. A low, resonant growl that seems to vibrate through the earth itself, through her bones, through the very air around her. It's not a sound of rage. It's a sound of power, of dominance, of something ancient and inevitable. Luna lifts her head, and through the swirling snow, she sees him. He stands between the trees like something carved from shadow and moonlight, impossibly tall, impossibly still. His eyes, God, his eyes burn gold in the darkness, reflecting the storm's fury. They're fixed on her with an intensity that steals what little breath she has left. He's dressed in black, his presence commanding despite the chaos around them, and there's something about the way he holds himself that makes her wolf, that broken, terrified creature inside her, go utterly silent. This is an alpha. Not like Marcus. Not like any wolf she's ever known. This is something else entirely. Luna. He says her name, and it's not a question. His voice is deep, rough like gravel and smoke, and it wraps around her like a physical thing. How does he know her name? How does he know who she is? The hunting party bursts through the tree line behind her, and Luna scrambles backward on instinct, her back hitting a massive oak. She's trapped. Caught between the wolves who want her dead and this stranger who shouldn't know she exists. Beta Garrett skids to a halt when he sees the man, his aggressive posture faltering. The other wolves fan out behind him, 6 of them, all battle-hardened, all ready to kill. but they're not moving forward. They're staring at the stranger with something Luna has never seen in their eyes before: fear. Alpha King Damon. Garrett's voice has lost its cruel edge. Now it's careful, respectful, confused. This doesn't concern the crown. This is pack business. The Omega is a criminal. She attacked our Alpha King. The words slam into Luna like a physical blow. She's heard stories about the Alpha King of the Northern Territories, whispered tales in the servant quarters. They say he's ruthless. They say he's killed more wolves than any living alpha. They say he never takes a mate, never shows mercy, never bends. And he's here, in the Blackthorn Forest, staring at her like she's the only thing that exists in the world. Pack business. Damon's voice is soft, deadly. He doesn't look at Garrett. Doesn't acknowledge the 6 wolves who could tear through most enemies without breaking a sweat. His golden eyes never leave Luna's face. Tell me, Beta. What kind of pack business involves hunting a half-dead Omega through a winter storm? She's dangerous, another wolf snarls. Cursed. She heard Alpha Marcus. I've met Marcus. Damon finally shifts his gaze to the hunting party, and the temperature seems to drop another 10 degrees. Weak Alpha. Weaker man. I'm not interested in his grievances. Luna can't process what's happening. Her mind is fracturing, caught between blood loss and terror, and the impossible reality unfolding before her. The Alpha King is defending her. Why? What could he possibly want with a cursed Omega who's spent her entire life being told she's worthless? With respect, Your Majesty, Garrett says, and there's an edge of desperation creeping into his voice now, the Omega belongs to the Blackthorn Pack. We have every right. No. The single word from Damon reverberates through the clearing like thunder. She doesn't belong to anyone. He moves then, and it's like watching liquid shadow pour across the snow. One moment he's standing 20 feet away, the next he's in front of Luna, crouching down so they're eye level. Up close, he's devastating, sharp features, a jaw that looks carved from stone, a scar running through his left eyebrow. But it's his eyes that hold her captive. Gold flecked with amber, burning with something she can't name. Can you walk? His question is quiet, meant only for her. Luna's throat is so dry she can barely speak. I don't. Truth. His voice drops even lower, and there's something in it that makes her wolf stir, that makes the burning mark on her shoulder blade flare with sudden heat. Can you walk, Luna? She nods, not trusting her voice. Not understanding why this man, this king, is looking at her like she matters. Then get up. It's not cruel. It's a command wrapped in something that might be encouragement. And stay behind me. He rises, and Luna forces herself to her feet, her legs shaking so badly she has to brace against the tree. Her vision swims, dark spots dancing at the edges, but she locks her knees and refuses to fall. She won't give Garrett and the others the satisfaction. Won't prove them right about her weakness. Damon positions himself between her and the hunting party, his body a wall of protection she doesn't understand and didn't ask for. Leave, he tells them. Go back to your pathetic Alpha and tell him his Omega is under crown protection now. If he has a problem with that, he can come discuss it with me personally. You can't just, Garrett starts. I can. Damon's voice goes cold, absolute. I'm the Alpha King. I can do whatever I want. And what I want is for you to leave before I forget I'm supposed to be diplomatic about territorial disputes. The threat hangs in the frozen air like a blade. For a long moment, nobody moves. Then Garrett makes a sharp gesture, and the hunting party retreats, melting back into the forest shadows. But Luna can feel their hatred, their resentment. They'll report this. Alpha Marcus will hear about it. And he'll be furious. The silence after they leave is somehow worse than the chaos. Luna stands there, bleeding and shaking, staring at the back of the Alpha King who just upended her entire world. She should say something. Thank him. Ask him why. But all she can think about is the way he said her name, like he's known it his whole life. Why? The word tears out of her, rough and broken. Why would you? I'm nobody. I'm nothing. You're Luna. He turns to face her, and the intensity in his eyes makes her breath catch. And you're not nothing. The mark on her shoulder blade erupts in flame, not real flame, but the sensation of fire racing across her skin. Luna gasps, her hand flying to her back, and Damon's eyes narrow. He sees it. Somehow he sees it. The silver mark, he says, and it's not a question. You have it. Luna's heart stops. Nobody knows about the mark except the Blackthorn healers who examined her after the incident when she was 12. Nobody should know. How? Because I've been looking for you for 3 years. His confession slams into her like a physical force. And now I've found you. Before Luna can respond, before she can process what he's saying, her legs finally give out. The blood loss, the cold, the shock, it's all too much. She's falling, and the last thing she registers is Damon moving faster than should be possible, catching her before she hits the ground, his arms impossibly strong and surprisingly gentle. I've got you, he murmurs, and his voice is the last thing she hears before darkness swallows her whole. I've got you, Luna. You're safe now. But as consciousness slips away, one thought burns through her mind like silver flame. Nothing about this is safe. The Alpha King knows her name, knows about her mark, has been looking for her. And Luna has no idea if she's been rescued or claimed by something far more dangerous than the pack she just escaped. If you're already hooked, if you can feel Luna's terror and confusion wrapping around your heart, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Join Cindy's Wolfheart stories, because we're just getting started, and this tale is about to burn brighter than any silver flame. Click subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's dive deeper into Luna's destiny together. Luna wakes to warmth. That's the first thing that registers, heat seeping into her frozen bones, wrapping around her like a blanket woven from summer sunlight. It's so foreign, so unlike anything she's felt in years, that for a moment she thinks she's died. Maybe that's what death is. Just warmth and softness and the absence of pain. But then the pain catches up. Her side throbs with each breath, a deep ache that pulses in rhythm with her heartbeat. Her feet burn, torn skin protesting against whatever surface they're resting on. And her head, her head feels stuffed with cotton and confusion. She forces her eyes open and immediately regrets it. The light is too bright, too warm, and she has to blink several times before the room comes into focus. Stone walls. A fireplace crackling with orange flame. Furs piled on a massive bed, the bed she's lying in. And sitting in a chair beside that bed, watching her with those devastating golden eyes, is Alpha King Damon. Luna tries to sit up, panic flooding her system, but a firm hand presses against her shoulder, gentle but immovable. Don't. His voice is quieter than it was in the forest, but no less commanding. You've been out for 6 hours. Your wounds are healing, but you need rest. 6 hours. Luna's mind scrambles. 6 hours and she's not in the Blackthorn packhouse. Not locked in the servant quarters. Not being dragged before Alpha Marcus for punishment. She's in a room that's bigger than any space she's ever occupied, in a bed that feels like sleeping on clouds, with the most powerful wolf in the Northern Territories sitting beside her like a guardian. Where, her voice cracks, dry and painful. Where am I? Stormcrest Manor. Damon reaches for something on the bedside table, a glass of water. He holds it out to her, and when she hesitates, something that might be frustration flickers across his face. It's not poisoned, Luna. Drink. She takes the glass with trembling hands, their fingers brushing in the exchange. The contact sends a shock through her system, electric and unexpected, and from the way Damon's jaw tightens, he felt it too. She drinks, the water soothing her raw throat, and tries to organize her thoughts into something coherent. Stormcrest Manor, she repeats slowly. That's your home? One of them. He leans back in his chair, but his posture is anything but relaxed. He's coiled tension, leashed power, and she can feel his wolf just beneath his skin, ancient, massive, aware of her in ways that make her own wolf press against her consciousness with confusion and something that feels dangerously like recognition. The closest one to Blackthorn territory. I brought you here after you passed out. The memory crashes back, being caught, the hunting party, Damon appearing like something out of a dark fairy tale and claiming her under crown protection. It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. You said. Luna sets the empty glass down, her hands still shaking. In the forest, You said you'd been looking for me for 3 years. Why? Damon studies her for a long moment, and she has the uncomfortable sensation of being dissected, examined, seen in ways she's spent her whole life avoiding. Finally, he stands, moving to the fireplace with that same liquid grace that seems impossible for someone so large. The firelight casts shadows across his features, making him look even more dangerous, even more otherworldly. What do you know about the prophecy of the silver flame? He asks instead of answering. Luna's blood goes cold. Nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me. He doesn't turn around, his focus fixed on the fire. I can hear your heartbeat spike. You know exactly what I'm talking about. She does. Of course she does. The silver flame is a myth, a legend whispered about in the darkest corners of wolf society. A story about a wolf born with power that predates the packs, that connects to the original magic of their kind. A wolf marked by flame who would either save their world or destroy it. It's just a story, Luna whispers, but even she doesn't believe the words leaving her mouth. Is it? Now Damon does turn, and his eyes pin her to the bed with their intensity. Then explain the mark on your shoulder blade. Explain the silver fire you created when you were 12 years old. Explain why your wolf feels like nothing I've ever encountered before. How does he know all of this? How can he possibly know the details of her life, her secrets, the things she's tried to bury so deep nobody could ever find them? I'm cursed, Luna says, and the words taste like ash. That's what everyone says. I'm wrong. Broken. Dangerous. The mark isn't. It's not some prophecy, it's just proof that I shouldn't exist. Something dangerous flashes across Damon's face, rage, but not directed at her. Who told you that? Everyone. The admission burns. Alpha Marcus. The pack elders. The healers who examined me after the fire. They all said the same thing. I'm an Omega who shouldn't have power. I'm a mistake. And the only reason they didn't kill me was because they thought keeping me as a servant was better than having my death on their hands. They're idiots. Damon's voice is flat, absolute. Every single one of them. You're not cursed, Luna. You're the opposite of cursed. She wants to believe him. God, she wants to believe him so badly it physically hurts. But belief is a luxury she lost years ago, beaten out of her by fists and words and the constant reminder that she was less than nothing. You don't know me, she says quietly. You don't know what I can do. What I've done. I know enough. He moves back to the chair, sitting down with deliberate slowness, like he's trying not to spook a wild animal. Maybe that's exactly what she is. I know you survived 7 years in a pack that abused you. I know you fought back when you had every reason to give up. I know you ran through a winter storm with a fatal wound rather than accept your own execution. That takes strength, Luna. Real strength. The way he says her name, like it's something precious, something that matters, makes her chest ache. She's not used to this. Not used to being spoken to like she's human. Like she's worth speaking to at all. Why do you care? The question comes out smaller than she intended. Vulnerable. You're the Alpha King. You could have anyone. Why waste your time on a broken Omega from a nothing pax? Damon's expression shifts, and for the first time since she woke, she sees something that might be uncertainty flicker through his eyes. Because he says slowly, carefully, 3 years ago, I had a vision. A dream so vivid I woke up believing it was real. In it, I saw a woman with silver flame burning around her, standing at the center of a war that would determine the fate of every wolf in the territories. And I saw her fall. I saw her die because nobody stood with her. Because she believed she was alone. Luna's heart is hammering against her ribs. That's just a dream. It was a prophecy. His voice is certain. My bloodline carries the gift of sight. We see what's coming, what's meant to be. And I've spent 3 years following that vision, searching for the woman in it, because I won't let her face her destiny alone. And you think that woman is me? It's not a question. She already knows the answer from the way he's looking at her, like she's both the solution and the question wrapped into one impossible package. I don't think. I know. He leans forward, elbows on his knees, and the intensity radiating from him is almost overwhelming. The moment I saw you in that forest, bleeding and terrified and still fighting, I knew. Your mark called to something in me. Your wolf recognized mine. You felt it too, Luna. Don't pretend you didn't. She did feel it. That electric shock when they touched. The way her wolf went silent in his presence, not from fear, but from recognition. Like finding something that had been missing her entire life. It terrifies her. This connection, this intensity, this man who's appending everything she thought she knew about her place in the world. I can't be part of some prophecy, Luna says, and she hates how her voice shakes. I can barely control my power. Half the time I don't even know what it is. And I'm nobody, Damon. I don't know how to be anything else. Then learn. He reaches out, and before she can pull away, his fingers brush against her cheek, rough calluses against soft skin, warm and grounding and impossibly gentle for someone with so much power. Let me teach you. Let me help you understand what you are. Because you're not nobody, Luna. You're the woman who's going to change everything. Her breath catches. His touch burns, but not like her mark burns. This is different. This is fire and safety and terror all wrapped into one sensation that makes her want to lean into him and run away in equal measure. I don't trust easily, she whispers. I can't. I know. His thumb traces a gentle path along her cheekbone, and his eyes hold hers with an intensity that makes the rest of the world fade away. But I'm not asking for your trust yet. I'm just asking you to stay. To let me prove that everything they told you about yourself was a lie. Can you do that? Luna thinks about the alternative. Going back to Blackthorn. Being hunted. Being killed. Spending whatever time she is left running and hiding and surviving, but never truly living. And she thinks about the warmth in this room, the gentleness in Damon's touch, the possibility that maybe, just maybe, she's not the broken thing everyone said she was. Okay, she breathes. I'll stay. Something fierce and triumphant flashes through Damon's eyes, and his hand falls away from her face, leaving her skin cold in its absence. Good, he says, and there's satisfaction in his voice, layered with something deeper that she can't quite name. Then rest. Heal. Tomorrow, we start figuring out exactly what you're capable of. He stands to leave, but Luna's hand shoots out before she can stop herself, catching his wrist. The contact sends another shock through her system, and Damon freezes, looking down at where her fingers wrap around his arm. Why do you care if I survive? She asks, needing to understand. If I'm part of some prophecy, if I'm supposed to fight in some war, why does it matter to you personally? Damon is quiet for a long moment, and when he speaks, his voice is low, rough with emotion she doesn't expect. Because I've been alone my entire life. I've been the Alpha King since I was 19 years old, and I've never had anyone stand beside me as an equal. Never had anyone who understood what it means to carry power you didn't ask for. And when I saw you in that vision, when I felt what you could become. He pauses, his eyes meeting hers with devastating honesty. I realized I've been waiting for you. Even before I knew you existed. The confession hangs between them, raw and vulnerable and impossibly intimate. Luna's hand falls away from his wrist, and Damon straightens, his walls sliding back into place like armor. Sleep, Luna, he says, his voice returning to that commanding tone that brooks no argument. You're safe here. I promise you that. He leaves, the door closing with a soft click, and Luna is alone in the warmth and silence. She lies back against the pillows, her mind spinning with everything he said, everything he revealed, everything she still doesn't understand. The Alpha King has been looking for her, has been waiting for her, believes she's part of a prophecy that could change their world. And for the first time in her life, someone sees her as something other than a mistake. Luna touches her shoulder blade, feeling the mark burn beneath her fingers, and wonders if she's been rescued or claimed by something she's not prepared to handle. But as exhaustion pulls her under, as sleep claims her in this strange bed in this impossible place, one thought echoes through her mind. Maybe being claimed isn't the worst thing that could happen. Maybe, just maybe, it's the beginning of everything she's been denied her whole life. Maybe this is where Luna finally gets to become who she was always meant to be. Luna doesn't sleep well. Her dreams are fractured things, sharp-edged and bleeding, memories she's spent years trying to bury rising like corpses from shallow graves. She's 12 again, small for her age, all knees and elbows and fear. The Omega quarters are dark and cramped, 20 girls packed into a space meant for 10, and Luna has claimed the corner furthest from the door because corners are easier to defend. She's learned that the hard way. Learned that being small and quiet doesn't protect you when you're marked as different, as wrong as other. The older Omegas whisper about her when they think she's sleeping. Whisper about the silver mark on her shoulder blade that looks like flame frozen in skin. About how she doesn't smell right, doesn't act right, doesn't belong in their world. They say her mother was cursed. They say her father wasn't even a wolf. They say she should have been drowned at birth, that letting her live is an insult to the moon goddess herself. Luna presses herself deeper into her corner and pretends she doesn't hear. Pretends their words don't carve themselves into her bones like scars that will never fade. In the dream, the night of the fire plays out in excruciating detail. Beta Thomas coming into the quarters after lights out, drunk and mean and looking for entertainment. The way he grabbed Mara, one of the younger Omegas, dragging her toward the door while she screamed. The other girls turning away, too afraid to help, too broken to fight. And Luna, 12-year-old Luna, who'd promised herself she'd never be weak, never be a victim, never let anyone hurt her without fighting back, standing up. Stepping between Thomas and Mara. Saying no. The beta had laughed. Had backhanded her so hard she'd tasted blood. Had told her that Omegas don't say no, that she was lucky he wasn't interested in broken little things like her, that she should learn her place before someone taught it to her the hard way. Something inside Luna had snapped. Not her will. Not her courage. Something deeper. Something that had been sleeping in her bones since birth, waiting for the moment it was needed. The silver flame had erupted from her skin like a living thing, pouring out of her in waves of heat and light and raw, uncontrolled power. Thomas had screamed. The Omega quarters had ignited. And Luna had stood at the center of it all, watching the flames dance around her without burning her, feeling the power coursing through her veins like liquid starlight, terrified and exhilarated and completely lost in the sensation. They'd put out the fire. Eventually. 3 healers and a full bucket brigade. Thomas had survived, barely, his face and chest covered in burns that would scar him for life. And Luna had been dragged before Alpha Marcus, trembling and smoke-stained and certain she was going to die. But Marcus hadn't killed her. He'd done something worse. He declared her too dangerous to execute, because what if her death triggered another explosion of power? But too valuable to exile. So instead, he'd made her a servant. Stripped her of any pack status, any rights, any hope of ever being treated as anything other than a thing to be used. You exist because I allow it, he'd told her, his voice cold and absolute. You breathe because I'm merciful. And you will spend every day of your miserable life being grateful that I didn't let the pack tear you apart for what you are. 7 years. 7 years of serving wolves who hated her. 7 years of sleeping in a closet, eating scraps, wearing rags, being beaten for the smallest infractions. 7 years of having her power suppressed by silver cuffs that burned her wrists, of being reminded daily that she was cursed, broken, better off dead. 7 years of surviving. Luna jerks awake, her breath coming in sharp gasps, her body drenched in cold sweat. For a disorienting moment, she doesn't know where she is. The room is too large, too warm, too comfortable to be real. Then memory crashes back. Stormcrest Manor. Alpha King Damon. Escape and rescue and impossible promises. She sits up slowly, testing her wounds. The injury in her side has healed significantly, perks of wolf metabolism, though it still aches with each breath. Her feet are bandaged, clean white gauze wrapped around the torn skin. Someone tended to her while she slept. Someone cared enough to make sure she was healing properly. The thought is so foreign it makes her chest ache. Pale morning light filters through heavy curtains, and Luna realizes she has no idea what time it is, how long she's been here, what happens next. She should probably stay in bed. Rest like Damon ordered. But lying still means thinking, and thinking means remembering, and remembering means feeling all the things she's worked so hard to bury. She slides out of bed carefully, her feet hitting plush carpet that feels like luxury incarnate. She's wearing a nightgown she doesn't recognize. Soft fabric that actually fits her, that doesn't have holes or stains or the weight of years of suffering soaked into every thread. Someone changed her. The thought should be mortifying, but mostly she's just confused by the consideration. Luna moves to the window, pulling back the curtain. The view steals her breath. Stormcrest Manor sits at the edge of a mountain range, and from this height she can see forests stretching to the horizon, peaks dusted with snow, valleys wrapped in morning mist. It's beautiful. Painfully beautiful. The kind of view she never imagined she'd be privileged enough to see. The Northern Territories, a voice says from behind her, and Luna spins around, her heart jumping into her throat. Damon stands in the doorway, and in the morning light he looks even more imposing than he did last night. He's wearing different clothes, dark pants, a simple black shirt that does nothing to hide the powerful build beneath. And his hair is slightly damp, like he just came from a shower. His golden eyes track her movement with predatory focus, and Luna has to fight the urge to step backward, to make herself smaller. You should be resting, he continues, moving into the room with that same fluid grace. Your wounds are healing. Luna's voice comes out steadier than she feels. I'm fine. You're stubborn. There's something that might be amusement in his tone. I should have expected that. She doesn't know how to respond, doesn't know the rules of this new dynamic. Is she a guest? A prisoner? Something else entirely? So she turns back to the window, focusing on the view instead of the man who makes her feel too much, too quickly. It's beautiful, she says quietly. I've never seen anything like it. The view from the North Tower is better. Damon moves to stand beside her, and she's acutely aware of his presence. The heat radiating from his body, the subtle scent of pine and smoke that clings to his skin, the way her wolf perks up in response to his proximity. I'll show you sometime. When you're healed. The casual promise of a future makes something in Luna's chest tighten. She's not used to thinking in terms of tomorrow, of next week, of someday. Survival has always been measured in hours, not hopes. You said last night that you wanted to help me understand what I am, she says, still not looking at him. What did you mean by that? Damon is quiet for a moment, and when he speaks, his voice is careful. What do you remember about your parents? The question is a knife between her ribs. Nothing. I was left at the Blackthorn pack house when I was 3 months old. Alpha Marcus took me in because, I don't know, duty? Pity? Nobody ever told me why. And you never questioned it? Never wondered where you came from. Of course I wondered. Luna's hands clench into fists at her sides. But wondering doesn't get you answers when nobody wants to tell you the truth. And after the fire, after I became a servant, asking questions just got me beaten. She feels Damon tense beside her, that same rage she glimpsed last night rolling off him in waves. They beat you. It's not a question, but Luna answers anyway. Among other things. Tell me. His voice has gone dangerously soft. Tell me everything they did to you. Why? Luna finally turns to look at him, and the intensity in his eyes makes her breath catch. So you can feel sorry for me? So you can add it to whatever prophecy you think I'm part of? I don't need your pity, Damon. Good. His jaw is tight, his hands flexed at his sides like he's restraining himself from violence. Because pity isn't what I'm offering. I want to know because those who hurt you need to answer for it. Because no one should have survived what you survived. And because understanding your past might help us understand your power. Luna wants to argue, wants to tell him that her past is none of his business, that she's spent 7 years learning how to bury her trauma so deep nobody can touch it. But something in his expression stops her. He's not looking at her with pity or disgust or the morbid curiosity she's seen in others. He's looking at her with fury on her behalf, and that's so unexpected it disarms her completely. They treated me like I was less than human, she says quietly, the words tasting like poison. Like I was a thing they owned. A tool to be used. I cleaned. I cooked. I served. And when I wasn't fast enough, or good enough, or quiet enough, they reminded me of my place. Fists. Claws. Words that cut deeper than any wound. Alpha Marcus's favorite punishment was making me kneel in silver dust for hours. It burned. God, it burned so badly I'd pass out sometimes. But it kept my power suppressed. kept me controllable. Damon's eyes have gone completely gold, his wolf rising so close to the surface Luna can feel it pressing against her consciousness. How long, he asks, his voice barely human. How long did this go on? 7 years. Luna's voice is hollow. From 12 to 19. Until 3 nights ago when Alpha Marcus decided I'd outlived my usefulness. He wanted to make an example of me. Show the pack what happens to Omegas who forget their place. So he called a gathering. Announced that I'd been stealing food, a lie, and that the punishment was death. He was going to execute me in front of everyone. Let Beta Garrett rip my throat out while the pack watched. She can still feel it. The terror of kneeling in the center of the gathering circle, silver chains wrapped around her wrists and throat, the entire Blackthorn pack staring at her with contempt and satisfaction. Marcus standing over her like a king pronouncing sentence on a criminal. Garrett shifting, his wolf form massive and eager, saliva dripping from fangs that would end her life. But something happened, Damon says, and it's not a question. He already knows. Somehow he knows. The mark. Luna touches her shoulder blade instinctively. It started burning. Worse than it ever had before. And I felt something inside me break, not my will, but whatever walls Marcus had built around my power with 7 years of silver and abuse. It just shattered. And the flame came out. She closes her eyes, remembering. The silver fire erupting from her skin, breaking the chains, throwing Garrett backward before he could strike. The pack scattering in terror. Marcus's face going pale as he realized he'd lost control of the weapon he thought he'd tamed. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, Luna whispers. I just wanted to live. I just wanted one more day. So I ran. And they chased me. And you found me. When she opens her eyes, Damon is staring at her with an expression she can't decipher. Something between awe and fury and a protectiveness so fierce it makes her want to step away and step closer in equal measure. You're not going back there, he says, and it's absolute. Ever. I don't care what Marcus claims, what rights he thinks he has. You're under my protection now, and anyone who tries to take you will have to go through me first. You can't start a war over one Omega. Luna's voice shakes. I'm not worth that. Stop. Damon moves faster than she can track, his hands coming up to frame her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. His touch is gentle despite the barely leashed violence radiating from every line of his body. Stop saying you're not worth it. Stop repeating the lies they carved into you. You are worth protecting. You are worth fighting for. And if Marcus wants to challenge that, I will gladly remind him why I'm the Alpha King, and he's a petty tyrant ruling over a pack too broken to know better. Luna's breath catches. She's never been touched like this. With care instead of cruelty, with reverence instead of contempt. Her hands come up instinctively, wrapping around his wrists, and the contact sends that electric shock through her system again, stronger this time. Her mark burns, but it's not painful. It's awakening, responding to something in Damon that calls to the deepest part of her power. What are you doing to me? She whispers. Why does my wolf recognize yours? Why does this feel like fate? Damon's voice is rough, his thumb tracing her cheekbone with devastating gentleness. Because we're connected, Luna. Have been since the moment you were born. The prophecy didn't just show me a woman with silver flame. It showed me my mate. The word detonates between them like a bomb. Mate. The one connection that transcends pack law, that binds two wolves together at a soul-deep level that can't be broken or denied or explained by logic. Luna's heard stories about mates. Rare, precious, destined. She never thought she'd have one. Never thought she deserved one. That's impossible, she breathes, but her wolf is singing, pressing against her consciousness with a certainty that terrifies her. I'm an Omega. You're the Alpha King. We can't. We are. His eyes hold hers with devastating intensity. I felt it the moment I saw you. My wolf knew before my mind caught up. And you feel it too. Don't lie to me, Luna. Don't lie to yourself. She does feel it. That pull, that recognition, that sense of coming home to a place she's never been. It's overwhelming and impossible and everything she's spent her life believing she couldn't have. And it terrifies her more than Marcus, more than the hunting party, more than her own power. I can't do this, Luna says, trying to pull away, but Damon's hands hold firm, not trapping her, but grounding her. I don't know how to be someone's mate. I don't know how to be anything except broken. Then learn. His voice softens, and there's a vulnerability in his eyes that shouldn't exist in someone so powerful. With me. Let me show you that you were never broken, Luna. You were just caged. And now you're free. Tears burn behind Luna's eyes, and she hates them, hates the weakness they represent. But they fall anyway, tracking down her cheeks, and Damon's thumbs catch them with a gentleness that makes her chest ache. I'm scared, she admits, the confession torn from somewhere deep and honest. Of you. Of this. Of what I might become. I know. He leans forward, resting his forehead against hers, and the intimacy of the gesture steals her breath. I'm scared too. Because I've never wanted anything the way I want you safe. Want you whole. Want you to see yourself the way I see you. And that kind of wanting is dangerous for someone in my position. Why? The word is barely a whisper. Because it makes me vulnerable. His breath mingles with hers, warm and steady. Because I've spent my entire life being untouchable, and now there's one person who could destroy me completely just by walking away. That's what mates do, Luna. They give you something worth living for. And something worth dying for. The weight of his words settles over her like a cloak, heavy with meaning she's not sure she's ready to carry. But beneath the fear, beneath the uncertainty, something else is growing. Something that might be hope. Might be possibility. Might be the first fragile threads of trust. I don't know how to do this, Luna says again, but this time it sounds less like a rejection and more like a question. Neither do I. Damon pulls back slightly, his hands falling away from her face, and she immediately misses the contact. I've never had a mate. Never expected to find one. But we'll figure it out together. One day at a time. Starting with breakfast and healing and showing you that this place, my home, can be yours too if you want it. Luna nods, not trusting her voice, and Damon steps back, giving her space she didn't ask for but probably needs. The loss of his proximity leaves her feeling cold, untethered, but also clearer-headed. She needs time to process this. Time to understand what it means that the Alpha King just claimed her as his mate, that her entire life has shifted in the span of 2 days, that she's standing in a beautiful room with a future spreading out before her instead of a noose. There's a question I need to ask, Damon says, his voice returning to that commanding tone that probably comes naturally to someone who's ruled territories since he was 19. And I need you to answer honestly. Luna braces herself. Okay, your power. His eyes are intense, searching. When it comes out, the silver flame, can you control it at all? The question makes shame crawl up her spine. No. It just explodes. I don't know how to direct it or stop it or do anything except survive it. That's why Marcus kept me in silver. Why everyone was afraid. Because I'm dangerous and I can't. You can. Damon's interruption is firm. You just haven't been taught. Your power isn't the problem, Luna. Your lack of training is. And that's something we can fix. Hope flickers in her chest, fragile and terrifying. You think you can teach me? I think you can teach yourself, with the right guidance. He moves toward the door, then pauses, looking back at her. My mother had power like yours. Not silver flame, but something equally rare. She spent her whole life afraid of it until my father helped her understand that power isn't inherently destructive. It's just energy. And energy can be shaped, directed, controlled. You're not a bomb waiting to explode, Luna. You're a forge. And we're going to teach you how to shape your fire instead of fearing it. The conviction in his voice makes something in Luna's chest crack open, a fissure in the armor she's built around her heart. For 7 years, everyone told her she was broken. Dangerous. Better off powerless. And now this man, this impossibly powerful, terrifyingly intense man, is telling her she's been strong all along. Just untaught. Why are you being so kind to me? The question escapes before she can stop it. You don't know me. Don't owe me anything. You could have left me to die in that forest and nobody would have questioned it. Damon's expression softens in a way she didn't think was possible for someone who carries himself like violence incarnate. Because he says quietly, everyone deserves at least one person who sees them for who they truly are instead of what the world tried to make them. And I see you, Luna. Not the servant. Not the cursed Omega. Not the weapon everyone feared. I see a survivor. A fighter. A woman strong enough to endure hell and still have the courage to trust again. That's who you are. And that's who I'm choosing to stand beside. He leaves before she can respond, the door closing with a soft click, and Luna is alone with his words echoing in her mind. She moves back to the window, pressing her palm against the cold glass, and stares out at the Northern Territory spreading before her like a promise. For the first time in 7 years, she lets herself feel something other than fear or resignation. She lets herself feel possibility. The possibility that maybe she's not broken. Maybe she's not cursed. Maybe she's exactly what Damon said, a forge, not a bomb. A woman with power she just needs to learn how to wield. The mark on her shoulder blade pulses with warmth, and Luna closes her eyes, reaching for the fire that lives in her bones. It responds immediately, silver flame dancing behind her eyelids, and for once she doesn't try to shove it down or smother it or pretend it doesn't exist. Instead, she just feels it. The heat, the power, the potential. And she whispers into the empty room, to herself, to the universe, to whatever fate brought her here, I'm ready. Teach me. 3 days pass in a strange blur of healing and adjustment. Luna spends most of her time in her room. The room Damon insists is hers now, not just a temporary refuge, learning to navigate a world where she's not constantly in danger, where meals arrive regularly and in abundance, where nobody hits her for existing. It's harder than she expected, this learning to be safe. Her body doesn't know how to relax. Every footstep in the hallway makes her tense. Every knock on the door triggers fight or flight instincts honed by 7 years of survival. She sleeps poorly, wakes in panic, and spends long hours staring out the window at mountains that feel both beautiful and suffocating because she doesn't know if she's allowed to leave, allowed to explore, allowed to take up space in this place that feels too good to be real. Damon visits her daily, bringing food or books or simply sitting in the chair by her bed and telling her about the Northern Territories, about pack dynamics, about the political landscape she's been thrust into. He never pushes, never demands, just offers his presence like a gift she's free to accept or reject. And slowly, so slowly she barely notices it happening, Luna starts to trust him, starts to believe that maybe he meant what he said. That maybe she's not just a weapon to be used or a problem to be solved. On the 4th morning, Damon appears at her door with a different energy, focused, intense, purposeful. Get dressed, he says, and there's an edge of excitement in his voice that Luna's never heard before. We're going somewhere. Where? Luna asks, immediately wary. You'll see. His eyes are bright, almost playful. Where's something you can move in? We'll be walking. An hour later, Luna finds herself following Damon through the forest behind Stormcrest Manor, dressed in clothes that actually fit, leather pants, a soft tunic, boots that don't pinch. It's surreal, this simple act of wearing clothing that's made for her body instead of whatever rags the pack could spare. She catches herself running her hands over the fabric, marveling at how soft it is, and has to remind herself not to take it for granted. Damon leads her deep into the woods, following paths that look like they haven't been walked in years. The forest here is different from Blackthorn territory, older, wilder, thick with moss, and ancient trees that tower overhead like sentinels. The air tastes of earth and rain and something else, something electric that makes Luna's mark tingle with awareness. This is sacred ground, Damon says as they walk. The Whispering Grove. My ancestors built a shrine here centuries ago, before the packs even formed. It's a place where the veil between our world and the spiritual realm is thin, where prophecies are revealed and destinies are confirmed. Luna's steps slow. Why are we going there? Because I want you to see something. He glances back at her, and there's something vulnerable in his expression. I want you to understand that you're not alone in this. That the power inside you has a history, a lineage, a purpose. They walk in silence for another 20 minutes, the forest growing denser, the air growing thicker with that electric energy. Luna's wolf is restless, pacing inside her consciousness, and the mark on her shoulder blade has started burning with intensity that's almost uncomfortable. Finally, they emerge into a clearing, and Luna's breath catches. The shrine is ancient, stone pillars carved with symbols she doesn't recognize, arranged in a circle around a central altar. But it's not the structure that steals her attention. It's the light. Silver light pours from the ground itself, swirling through the air like liquid starlight, and everywhere it touches, Luna sees images. Visions. Moments frozen in time. "What is this?" she whispers, afraid to speak too loudly, afraid to disturb whatever magic saturates this place. History. Damon moves to stand beside her, his voice reverent. The memories of every wolf who ever stood here seeking guidance. Watch. Luna watches. The silver light coalesces into shapes, wolves running through forests, battles fought under blood moons, ceremonies performed at stone altars. And woven through all of it, appearing again and again like a recurring dream, she sees silver flame. Sees women and men wielding power that burns bright and pure, protecting their packs, healing the wounded, standing against darkness that threatens to swallow their world. The flame bearers, Damon says quietly. That's what they were called. Wolves born with power that predates our modern understanding of dominance and submission, Alpha and Omega. Power that connects directly to the source of what we are. They were protectors. Healers. Warriors when necessary. And they were always rare. Maybe one every few generations. Luna's heart is pounding. You're saying I'm one of them? I'm saying you're the first one in 300 years. He turns to look at her, and his eyes are intense. The bloodline went dormant. Everyone thought it was extinct. But then you were born, and the mark appeared, and suddenly the prophecies started again. Visions of a war coming. Of darkness rising. Of a flame bearer who would either save us or watch us burn. The weight of his words is crushing. Luna takes a step back, shaking her head. No, you're wrong. I don't know how to save anyone. I can barely control my power. I'm not some legendary warrior or protector. I'm just a girl who survived too long in a bad situation. You're more than that. Damon moves toward her, his presence grounding even as her world tilts. And I can prove it. Come here. He leads her to the central altar, and Luna sees that it's not just stone, it's covered in carvings, thousands of tiny symbols etched into the surface. Names, she realizes. Every flame bearer who ever existed, their names carved in permanent remembrance. Give me your hand, Damon says, holding his out. Luna hesitates, then places her hand in his. The contact sends that familiar shock through her system, but this time it's magnified tenfold. The moment their skin touches, the silver light explodes around them, and Luna gasps as power floods through her, not painful, but overwhelming. Every nerve ending lights up. The mark on her shoulder blade erupts in silver flame that's visible, real, burning without consuming. And the altar responds. New symbols appear, carving themselves into the stone with invisible hands. Luna watches, transfixed, as letters form her name. Luna. Etched among legends, among heroes, among women and men who shaped the history of their people. The grove recognizes you, Damon says, and his voice is filled with awe. It's confirming what I already knew. You're not cursed, Luna. You're chosen. Luna wants to deny it, wants to reject this impossible responsibility, but the power flowing through her is undeniable. It's hers. It's always been hers. She just never had a name for it, never understood that the thing she'd been taught to fear was actually her greatest gift. What am I supposed to do? The question comes out small, overwhelmed. If there's a war coming, if I'm supposed to fight in it, I don't know how. Then we learn together. Damon's hand tightens around hers. That's why I brought you here. To show you that you're part of something bigger than Blackthorn, bigger than Marcus's cruelty, bigger than the lies you've been told. Your power has a purpose. And I'm going to help you find it. The silver light begins to fade, but Luna can still feel it humming in her veins, awakening parts of herself she didn't know existed. She looks at Damon, at this man who's upended her entire world in a matter of days, and sees certainty in his eyes. He believes in her. Believes in what she can become. I'm terrified, she admits. Good. His thumb traces circles on the back of her hand, the gesture both comforting and intimate. Fear means you understand the stakes. But don't let it paralyze you. Channel it. Use it. Let it fuel the fire instead of drowning it. Luna takes a shaky breath, then nods. Okay, teach me. Damon's smile is fierce, proud. First lesson. Your power responds to emotion. Strong emotion. Fear, rage, love, they all trigger it. But you can't control what you can't feel. So we start with awareness. With understanding what sets off the flame and what calms it. He releases her hand and steps back, and Luna immediately feels the loss of contact. The silver light has faded almost completely now, leaving just the two of them standing in this ancient place among whispers of history. Close your eyes, Damon instructs. And find your wolf. Luna does as he says, sinking into her consciousness where her wolf waits. It's always been there, this second soul living inside her, but she's spent so many years trying to suppress it that connecting feels foreign, uncomfortable. Don't force it. Damon's voice is gentle. Just observe. What does she feel? What does she want? Luna focuses, and slowly her wolf becomes clearer. She's not the weak, cowering creature Luna expected. She's powerful, restless, angry at being caged for so long. And underneath that anger, there's something else, recognition. Her wolf knows Damon's wolf. Knows it at a soul-deep level that transcends logic. She knows you, Luna whispers, eyes still closed. My wolf. She's been waiting for yours. Because we're mates. Damon's voice is close now, like he's moved toward her. Our wolves recognized each other before we did. That's why the connection feels so strong, so immediate. It's destiny, Luna. Whether we wanted it or not. Luna opens her eyes and finds him standing right in front of her, so close she can see the gold flecks in his eyes, the scar cutting through his eyebrow, the barely controlled intensity that radiates from him like heat. And what about what we want? She asks softly. Does that matter? Or are we just slaves to this bond? It matters. His hand comes up, cupping her face with that same devastating gentleness. The bond pulls us together, but we choose what to do with that pull. We choose whether to fight it or embrace it. And I'm choosing to embrace it, Luna. I'm choosing you. But you get to choose too. The weight of his words, of the choice he's offering, settles over her. She could walk away. Could reject the bond, reject him, reject this destiny that terrifies her. And something in his eyes tells her he would let her. Would respect that choice even though it would destroy him? But she doesn't want to walk away. Despite the fear, despite the overwhelming nature of everything she's learned, despite not knowing if she's strong enough for what's coming, she wants this. Wants him. Wants the chance to become who she was always meant to be. I choose this too, Luna says, and the words feel like a vow. I choose you. Something fierce and triumphant flashes in Damon's eyes, and then he's kissing her. It's not gentle, it's claiming, possessive, desperate. His hands frame her face and hers fly to his chest, feeling his heart pound beneath her palms. The kiss is fire and promise and everything she's been denied her whole life, and when they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Luna feels fundamentally changed. The mark on her shoulder blade is burning again, but this time it doesn't hurt. It sings. And when she looks down, she sees silver flame dancing across her skin, controlled, beautiful, hers. You did it, Damon breathes, staring at her with something like wonder. You're controlling it. Luna looks at her hands, at the silver fire weaving between her fingers like liquid light. He's right. She's doing this. She's choosing to let the power out, and it's responding to her will instead of exploding uncontrollably. How? She whispers. Because you stopped fighting it. Damon's voice is filled with pride. You stopped seeing it as a curse and started seeing it as yours. That's the first step, Luna. The first real step toward becoming who you're meant to be. The flame fades slowly, sinking back into her skin, and Luna feels exhausted but exhilarated. She did it. She controlled her power. For the first time in her life, she didn't just survive the flame, she wielded it. Second lesson tomorrow, Damon says, and his smile is warm, genuine. For now, let's get you back. You need food and rest. They walk back through the forest in companionable silence, and Luna lets herself feel something she hasn't felt in years: happiness. It's fragile, tentative, but it's real. And as they emerge from the trees and Stormcrest Manor comes into view, Luna allows herself to hope that maybe, just maybe, she's finally found a place where she belongs. Where she's not just surviving, but living. The attack comes 3 days later, shattering Luna's fragile sense of safety like glass under a hammer. She's in the training yard behind Stormcrest Manor, working through the exercises Damon taught her. Breathing techniques to calm her wolf. Visualization to direct her power. Small controlled releases of flame that don't explode or consume, but simply exist, dancing across her palms like they're supposed to be there. It's working. Slowly, painfully slowly, Luna is learning to understand the power that's lived inside her all her life. Each small success feels monumental. Holding the flame for 30 seconds instead of 20, shaping it into specific forms, extinguishing it with thought instead of panic. Damon watches from the edge of the yard, and Luna can feel his pride radiating across the distance. He's been patient with her, never pushing too hard, always believing she can do more than she thinks possible. And something between them is growing, not just the mate bond, but real connection. Trust. Understanding. The kind of partnership she never imagined having. Then the alarm bells shatter the peaceful morning. Luna's head snaps up, her flames sputtering out as fear floods her system. The bells are loud, urgent, ringing from every tower of Stormcrest Manor. Damon is moving before she can process what's happening, his body already shifting into combat mode. Inside, he barks, his voice pure alpha command. Now, what's happening? Luna runs toward him, her heart pounding. We're under attack. His eyes have gone completely gold, his wolf rising to the surface. Get inside the manor. Find the safe room. Don't come out until I come for you. I'm not hiding. Luna. He grabs her shoulders, and the intensity in his eyes pins her in place. Please. I can't fight if I'm worried about protecting you. Please, just this once, do what I ask. The vulnerability in his voice, the raw need to know she's safe, makes Luna nod even though every instinct screams at her to stay and fight. Okay, I'll go. Damon's relief is palpable. He kisses her hard and fast, then pushes her toward the manor. Go. Now. Luna runs, her feet pounding across the yard, but before she reaches the door, the first wolves breach the tree line. They're massive, battle-trained warriors, twice the size of normal wolves, their eyes gleaming with bloodlust and purpose. And at the front of the pack, leading the charge with vicious satisfaction painted across his scarred face, is Beta Garrett. There she is. His voice carries across the yard like a whip crack. The cursed Omega sees her. Luna skids to a stop, trapped between the manor and the attacking force. Her mind screams at her to move, to hide, to do anything, but her body is frozen in terror. This is it. Blackthorn has come for her. They've come to drag her back or kill her, and there's nowhere to run. Then Damon is between her and the wolves, and his shift is the most terrifying thing Luna has ever witnessed. One moment he's a man, the next he's a massive black wolf easily twice the size of the attackers, his coat so dark it seems to swallow light, his eyes blazing gold fire. He doesn't howl or snarl. He simply stands there, radiating dominance so powerful that the attacking wolves falter, their charge breaking against the wall of his authority. You dare. Damon's voice rumbles through the link that all wolves share, and it's layered with alpha power that makes even Luna's knees weak. You dare attack the Alpha King in his own territory. We're here for what belongs to Blackthorn, Garrett snarls, but there's uncertainty in his posture now. The Omega broke pack law. She's ours to punish. She belongs to no one but herself. Damon takes a step forward, and the movement is pure threat. And she's under crown protection. Leave now, and I might let you survive this. Stay, and I'll tear through every last one of you. More wolves are emerging from the manor now, Damon's pack, his warriors, dozens of them fanning out into defensive positions. Luna realizes with stunning clarity that this is what Blackthorn was counting on. They didn't just want her. They wanted to challenge Damon's authority, to prove that even the Alpha King couldn't shelter a cursed Omega without consequences. Alpha Marcus sends a message, Garrett says, and there's cruel satisfaction in his voice. The Omega's existence is an insult to the moon goddess. Her power is corruption incarnate. Every day she lives is a day our world moves closer to destruction. She must be cleansed. And any Alpha who protects her will be seen as an enemy to all packs. The accusation lands like a weapon. Luna can feel the attention of Damon's warriors shifting, can sense their uncertainty. They don't know her. Don't understand why their Alpha would risk political catastrophe for one broken Omega. And some of them, she can see it in their body language, smell it in their fear, believe what Garrett is saying. Believe she's dangerous. Cursed. Wrong. Is that what you think? Damon's question is directed at his own pack, at the wolves who follow him. Do you believe her power is corruption? Silence. Hesitation. Then a female voice speaks up from the defensive line. A warrior with silver fur and scars marking her as a veteran of countless battles. With respect, my king, we don't know what she is. Her power is unlike anything we've seen. If there's even a chance she could harm the pack, she won't. Damon's conviction cuts through the doubt like a blade. Because I know what she is. I've seen her destiny. And anyone who doubts me can challenge me right now for Alpha rights. Otherwise, you stand with me or you leave my territory. The ultimatum hangs in the air, heavy and absolute. Luna watches as Damon's warriors make their choice, some standing firm, their loyalty unshaken, others backing away with uncertainty painted across their shifted forms. It's a schism, a crack in the foundation of Damon's authority, and it's all because of her. Luna can't breathe, can't think. This is what she feared, what she always knew would happen. Her presence brings destruction, brings chaos, brings division to those who should be united. Marcus was right about one thing, she's dangerous. Just by existing, she's tearing apart the one place that offered her safety. This is wrong, she whispers, but her voice carries in the tense silence. This is all wrong. I should go with them. I should. No. Damon doesn't look at her, his focus still locked on the Blackthorn wolves. You stay here. You're mine, Luna. And I don't give up what's mine. She's not yours to claim. Garrett's snarl is triumphant now, sensing the division in Damon's ranks. She's not even worthy of being an Omega. She's an abomination. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner order can be restored. Something inside Luna snaps. Not her control. Not her power. But her tolerance for being called cursed, broken, wrong. She's spent 7 years accepting those labels, internalizing them, believing them. But standing here in this yard, watching Damon defend her at cost to his own authority, watching his pack fracture because of her existence, something fierce and furious wakes up inside her chest. I'm not an abomination. Her voice is quiet, but it cuts through the noise like silver flame through darkness. I'm not cursed. And I'm not going back to Blackthorn. Garrett's eyes snap to her, and his lips pull back from his fangs in a vicious snarl. You don't have a choice, Omega. You're coming with us. Dead or alive. Then come get me. The words leave Luna's mouth before she can stop them, before she can think about the consequences. Her mark is burning, her wolf is raging, and for the first time in her life, she's not running. She's standing her ground. Garrett lunges, and everything explodes into chaos. Damon intercepts him mid-leap, the two massive wolves colliding in a tangle of teeth and claws and raw violence. The other Blackthorn wolves surge forward, and Damon's warriors meet them in a clash of fur and fury. The training yard becomes a battlefield in seconds, blood spattering across stone, snarls and howls filling the air. Luna stands frozen in the center of it all, her body trembling with adrenaline and terror. She should shift. Should fight. Should do something other than stand here uselessly while wolves die because of her. But she doesn't know how to fight, doesn't know how to be anything except a victim, and her power is roiling inside her with dangerous intensity, but no direction, no control. Then she sees him, a Blackthorn wolf breaking through the defensive line, smaller than the others but faster, heading straight for her with murder in his eyes. She recognizes him. Delta Travis, one of Marcus's enforcers, one of the wolves who used to beat her when she was too slow serving meals. Luna's body moves on instinct. She throws her hands up defensively, and silver flame erupts from her palms, not controlled, not shaped, just raw power exploding outward in a desperate bid for survival. The flame hits Travis mid-leap, and he screams, a sound no wolf should make, as silver fire consumes him. The entire battlefield freezes. Every wolf stops fighting to stare at Luna standing there with silver flame pouring from her hands, her eyes glowing with reflected light, her mark burning so bright it's visible through her tunic. Travis is on the ground, whimpering, his fur singed but not destroyed. She didn't kill him. Didn't even seriously harm him. Just stopped him. But the sight of her power, of what she can do, sends ripples of fear through both sides. See. Garrett's voice is triumphant despite the wounds Damon has carved into his side. See what she is. Uncontrolled. Dangerous. She'll kill us all. She defended herself. Damon's growl is venomous. Something she has every right to do when attacked by cowards who hunt omegas in packs. But Luna can see the doubt spreading. Can see even some of Damon's most loyal warriors backing away from her, their body language screaming distrust. She's proven Garrett's point. She's shown them exactly what they feared, that her power is wild, destructive, capable of burning wolves alive. The flame is still dancing across her hands, and Luna doesn't know how to stop it. Her control is shattered by fear and adrenaline, and every second she stands there glowing with silver light, she loses more of the fragile trust Damon's pack might have had in her. Luna. Damon's voice cuts through her panic, gentle despite the chaos around them. Look at me. She does, and his golden eyes lock with hers, steady, certain, completely unafraid of the power radiating from her body. Breathe, he says. You're in control. Not the flame. You. Breathe and bring it back. Luna tries, but the power won't listen. It's too big, too wild, fed by years of suppression and current terror and the overwhelming need to survive. She's going to lose control completely, going to explode like she did when she was 12, going to prove everyone right about her being dangerous. Luna. Damon shifts back to human form, and it's insane, suicidal in the middle of a battlefield. But he walks toward her calmly, ignoring Garrett's wolves who could kill him in this vulnerable state, his focus entirely on her. You're not that scared 12-year-old anymore. You're stronger now. You've been training. You know how to control this. So breathe and bring it back. Trust yourself. His faith in her, his complete certainty that she can do this, cuts through the panic. Luna focuses on his voice, on the breathing exercises they practiced, on the visualization techniques. She imagines the flame as part of herself, not a separate force, but an extension of her will. And slowly, so slowly, the silver fire begins to dim. It doesn't explode, doesn't consume. It just fades, sinking back into her skin, leaving her standing in the center of the battlefield with trembling hands and tears streaming down her face. You did it, Damon says, and there's fierce pride in his voice. You controlled it. But the damage is done. Luna can see it in the faces of the wolves watching, both friend and enemy. She's shown them what she is, what she can do. And now there's no going back, no pretending she's just a normal Omega who doesn't deserve the fear in their eyes. This isn't over, Garrett snarls, backing toward the tree line with his surviving warriors. Alpha Marcus will hear about this. The Council will hear about this. You're protecting a weapon, Damon. And when she turns on you, because she will, don't say we didn't warn you. Get off my territory, Damon growls, his voice carrying alpha command that can't be disobeyed. Now. The Blackthorn wolves retreat, melting back into the forest, but their threat hangs in the air like smoke. They'll be back. Or worse, they'll spread word about what happened here, about Luna's power, about Damon's decision to protect her. They'll turn other packs against her, against him, until he's forced to choose between his throne and the cursed Omega he's claimed as his mate. When the enemy wolves are gone, Damon turns to his own pack. His warriors stand in uncertain clusters, some bleeding from wounds, all staring at Luna like she's a bomb that might detonate at any moment. Anyone who has a problem with my decision can leave, Damon says, his voice hard. I won't force you to stay if you can't trust my judgment. But know this, Luna is my mate. She's under my protection. And anyone who threatens her answers to me. Personally. Several wolves exchange glances. Then, one by one, about a third of his warriors turn and walk away. Not running. Not fleeing. Just quietly leaving, choosing to abandon their alpha rather than stand beside the cursed Omega he's chosen to defend. Luna watches them go, and something inside her dies. This is her fault. These wolves followed Damon, trusted him, would have died for him. And now they're leaving because of her. Because she's exactly what everyone always said, dangerous. A burden. A curse. I'm sorry, she whispers when the defectors are gone. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Don't. Damon moves to her side, pulling her against his chest despite being covered in blood and wounds. Don't apologize for defending yourself. Don't apologize for being powerful. And don't apologize for the choices others make. They left because of me, Luna says, her voice breaking. Your pack is fracturing because you chose me. My pack is fracturing because they couldn't see past their fear. His arms tighten around her. The wolves who left weren't strong enough to stand beside someone like you. They weren't worthy of serving in a pack that protects the innocent instead of persecuting them. I'm better off without them. You're lying. Luna pulls back to look at him. You're lying to make me feel better. But I saw your face when they walked away. You're hurting. Damon's jaw tightens, and for a moment she sees the truth in his eyes. Yes, he's hurting. Yes, losing a third of his warriors, of his family, cuts him deeply. But then his expression hardens into something determined, unbreakable. I'm hurting, he admits. But I don't regret my choice. I will never regret choosing you, Luna. Even if it costs me everything. The vow settles over her like a weight, beautiful and terrible in equal measure. He means it. He would give up his throne, his pack, his entire world for her. And that terrifies her more than anything because she doesn't know if she's worth that sacrifice. Doesn't know if she can ever be the person he believes she is. Marcus is going to use this, Luna says quietly. He's going to turn other packs against you. Against us. This was just the beginning. I know. Damon's voice is grim. This is the clash I saw in my vision. The moment when the world decides whether to stand with you or against you. And we're going to have to fight for every inch of ground from here on out. Luna looks at the remaining warriors, the ones who chose to stay despite their fear, despite the uncertainty, despite knowing what she is. They're watching her with expressions ranging from curiosity to concern to lingering doubt. But they're here. They didn't run. Thank you, Luna says, addressing them directly. I know I'm not what you expected. I know my power scares you. But I swear, on my life, on my soul, I will never use it to harm innocent wolves. I will never become the monster they say I am. The silver-furred warrior who spoke earlier steps forward, and there's new respect in her eyes. You saved Travis's life, she says. You could have killed him. Your flame was powerful enough. But you held back. That takes control. That takes mercy. Maybe you're not the curse they say you are. Maybe I am, Luna says honestly. Maybe I'm exactly as dangerous as they fear. But I'm trying to be better. Trying to learn control. And I'm asking you to give me a chance to prove that I'm more than the rumors. The warrior nods slowly. My name is Sarah. And I'll give you that chance. But know this, if you ever lose control, if you ever become a threat to this pack, I will be the first one to put you down. Alpha King's mate or not. It should feel like a threat. But instead, it feels like honesty. Like respect. Like the beginning of trust, tentative and fragile but real. Fair enough, Luna says. Damon's hand finds hers, their fingers interlacing, and the remaining warriors slowly disperse to tend wounds and repair damage. The training yard looks like a war zone, blood on stone, torn earth, the lingering scent of fear and violence. But standing in the center of it, holding Damon's hand, Luna feels something she didn't expect. She feels like a fighter. Not a victim. Not a servant. But someone who stood her ground and survived. The world is going to fight back. Marcus and Garrett and every pack who fears her power are going to come at them with everything they have. The war Damon saw in his vision is starting, and Luna is at the center of it whether she wants to be or not. But she's not facing it alone. Damon is beside her. Sarah and the loyal warriors are willing to give her a chance. And for the first time, Luna believes she might be strong enough to survive what's coming. Maybe even strong enough to win. That night, Luna can't sleep. The events of the day play on repeat in her mind: Garrett's attack, the division in Damon's pack, the look on his face when his warriors walked away. She's destroyed everything he built, and he's pretending it doesn't matter. Pretending he doesn't resent her for it. She's lying in her too comfortable bed, staring at the ceiling, when she hears the knock. Soft. Tentative. Not demanding entry, but asking permission. "Come in," Luna calls, and Damon enters. He looks exhausted. There are bandages wrapped around his ribs where Garrett's claws caught him, and his movements are slower than usual, careful in a way that suggests pain he's trying to hide. But his eyes are clear, focused on her with that intensity that always makes her breath catch. "You should be resting," Luna says. "So should you." He closes the door behind him, leaning against it like he's not sure he's welcome deeper in the room. But here we are. Silence stretches between them, loaded with everything they're not saying. Finally, Luna breaks it. "Why aren't you angry with me?" "Why would I be angry?" "Because I cost you a third of your pack." The words are bitter, self-recriminating. "Because my existence is tearing your world apart. Because everything you said about me being dangerous is proving true." Damon pushes off the door, moving to sit in the chair beside her bed, the same chair he's occupied so many times over the past week. "You didn't cost me anything," he says quietly. "They made their choice. And honestly, I'm glad they revealed their true colors now rather than when it really matters." "How can you say that?" Luna sits up, pulling her knees to her chest. "They were loyal to you. They would have died for you. And now they're gone because you chose me. They were loyal to the version of me that fit their expectations." Damon's voice is steady, certain. "But the moment I chose something they didn't understand, something that scared them, that loyalty crumbled. That's not real loyalty, Luna. That's conditional support. And I don't want wolves in my pack who can only follow me when it's easy." Luna wants to believe him. Wants to accept that the losses today weren't her fault, that she hasn't destroyed everything he worked for. But the guilt sits heavy in her chest, poisonous and persistent. "You're going to lose more," she whispers. "Marcus is going to spread word about what happened. About what I am. And other alphas are going to demand you give me up. You're going to have to choose between me and your throne. Then I choose you." The words are immediate, absolute. "Every single time, Luna. I choose you. You can't. I can." He leans forward, elbows on his knees, his golden eyes boring into hers. "Do you want to know why I became Alpha King at 19? Why my father gave up the throne to me instead of holding it until he died?" Luna shakes her head. She knows almost nothing about Damon's past, about the history that shaped him into the man he is now. "Because he made a choice," Damon continues. "He chose to save my mother's life over maintaining his political alliances. She was sick, dying from a curse that no healer could break. The only cure required breaking a treaty with a neighboring pack, stealing a sacred artifact they'd kept for centuries. Everyone told him it was suicide, that he'd start a war, that sacrificing one woman, even his mate, wasn't worth the cost." He pauses, and Luna can see old pain flickering through his expression. But he did it anyway. He stole the artifact, broke the treaty, and saved her life. And in the backlash, he lost half his pack. Lost his authority. Nearly lost his throne entirely. So he stepped down and gave the position to me because he said any alpha who wouldn't risk everything for the person they love doesn't deserve to lead." Luna's throat tightens. "Did he regret it?" "Never." Damon's smile is sad but genuine. "He and my mother lived another 20 years together before they died. And every single day, he told me that choosing her was the best decision he ever made. That everything he lost was worth those 20 extra years. That real strength isn't holding on to power, it's knowing what's worth sacrificing power for." The story settles over Luna like a blanket, warm and heavy. She understands now why Damon is so certain, so unwavering in his choice to protect her. He watched his father make the same decision. Saw that it was possible to choose love over duty and not regret it. "I don't know if I'm worth that," Luna admits, her voice small. "You are." Damon reaches out, taking her hand in his. The contact sends that familiar spark through her system, grounding and electric all at once. You're worth everything, Luna. And I'm going to spend however long it takes proving that to you. Luna stares at their joined hands, at the way his fingers dwarf hers, at the strength in his grip that's somehow gentle. I'm scared, she confesses. Of this. Of us. Of what happens when I inevitably fail you. You won't fail me. You don't know that. I do. He stands, pulling her up with him, and suddenly they're standing face to face in the dim light of her room, so close she can feel the heat radiating from his body. Because I've seen your strength, Luna. I've watched you survive things that would have broken anyone else. I've seen you choose courage when fear would have been easier. You think you're weak, but you're the strongest person I've ever met. Tears burn behind Luna's eyes. She wants so badly to believe him, to see herself the way he sees her. But years of abuse have carved doubts so deep into her bones that even his conviction can't completely erase it. Show me, she whispers. Show you what? Show me that this is real. That you really choose me. That I'm not just some prophecy to you, some destiny you're obligated to fulfill. Understanding flashes in Damon's eyes, and he cups her face with both hands, forcing her to hold his gaze. You want proof? Yes. Then feel this. He pulls her closer until their bodies are pressed together, until she can feel his heart hammering against his ribs in rhythm with hers. Feel my wolf recognizing yours. Feel the bond between us that has nothing to do with prophecies or duty, and everything to do with the fact that you're mine and I'm yours. This isn't obligation, Luna. This is choice. My choice. Every single day. Then he kisses her, and it's different from the kiss at the shrine. That one was claiming, possessive. This one is reverent. Gentle. A promise sealed with touch instead of words. Luna's hands come up to grip his shoulders, and she kisses him back with everything she has. All her fear and hope and desperate need to believe that maybe, just maybe, she deserves this. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Damon rests his forehead against hers. Do you feel it now? He asks softly. Do you feel how real this is? Yes, Luna breathes. I feel it. They stand like that for a long moment, wrapped in each other, the rest of the world fading away. Then Damon pulls back slightly, and there's vulnerability in his eyes that she's never seen before. I need to tell you something, he says. About the vision. About what I saw. Luna's stomach clenches. What? I saw you standing at the center of a war, surrounded by flame, and I saw you fall. But that's not all I saw. His hands tighten on her face, like he's afraid she'll disappear. I saw two possible endings. In one, you face the darkness alone and it destroys you. You burn so bright trying to save everyone that there's nothing left when the fight is over. And the other ending? Luna's voice is barely a whisper. In the other, you're not alone. Someone stands with you, anchors you, reminds you that you're more than the flame, more than the weapon everyone wants you to be. And in that ending, you win. You save our world and survive to see the peace you fought for. Luna's heart is pounding. You think that person is you. I know it is. His conviction is absolute. I'm supposed to be beside you, Luna. Not because of some cosmic obligation, but because together we're stronger than we could ever be apart. Your power and my strength. Your compassion and my experience. We balance each other. Complete each other. The word mate hangs unspoken between them, but its weight is undeniable. They're bound at a level deeper than choice, deeper than logic. And standing here with his hands on her face and his heart beating against hers, Luna finally accepts it. She's not alone anymore. And maybe that's the most powerful thing of all. Stay with me tonight, Luna says, the words tumbling out before she can second-guess them. Not for anything except sleeping. I just don't want to be alone. Something soft and understanding crosses Damon's face. Okay, he says simply. They move to the bed, and it should be awkward, this intimacy without expectation, this closeness without demands. But it's not. Damon lies on top of the covers, and Luna curls against his side, her head resting on his chest, his arm wrapped around her shoulders. She can hear his heartbeat, steady and strong, and it's the most comforting sound she's ever heard. Tell me about your mother, Luna says quietly. What was she like? Damon is silent for a moment, his fingers tracing absent patterns on her arm. Strong, he finally says. But not in the way most people think of strength. She was kind. Gentle. She cried at sad stories and laughed too loud and believed the best in everyone even when they didn't deserve it. My father said that was her real power, not her magic, but her ability to see light in darkness. She sounds wonderful. She was. There's grief in his voice, old but still sharp. She taught me that power isn't about dominance or control. It's about choice. About deciding what kind of leader you want to be and having the courage to be that person even when it costs you. Luna thinks about her own mother, whoever she was, wherever she is. She has no memories, no stories, no legacy except the mark on her shoulder blade and the power in her blood. Do you think my mother was like that too? Kind and strong. I think she gave you life knowing you'd be special. Knowing you'd face challenges no one should have to face. That takes a different kind of strength. Damon's voice is quiet, thoughtful. And I think she'd be proud of who you've become. The words crack something open in Luna's chest, and tears spill over before she can stop them. She cries silently against Damon's chest, and he doesn't say anything, doesn't try to fix it. He just holds her, his presence steady and unshakable, and lets her grieve for the mother she never knew and the life she never had. Eventually, the tears stop, and exhaustion pulls at Luna like a physical weight. She's safe here, wrapped in Damon's arms, listening to his heartbeat. For the first time since the attack, since watching his pack fracture, she feels like maybe everything will be okay. Thank you, she whispers into the darkness. For what? For choosing me. For believing in me. For being here. Damon's arm tightens around her. Always, he says, and it sounds like a vow. I'll always choose you, Luna. No matter what comes. Luna closes her eyes and lets herself believe it. Lets herself trust that maybe, finally, she's found someone who won't abandon her when things get difficult. Someone who sees her power as a gift instead of a curse. Someone who stands beside her instead of using her. As sleep finally claims her, Luna's last thought is clear and certain. She's falling in love with Damon. And terrifying as that is, it might be the bravest thing she's ever done. To be continued. If Luna's journey has touched your heart, if you've felt her pain and celebrated her victories, if you're desperate to know what happens next, then you need to subscribe to Cindy's Wolfheart stories right now. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our pack. Because Luna's story is only beginning, and the battles ahead will test everything she's learned about power, love, and destiny. Don't miss what comes next. Subscribe and let's walk this path together. Because here at Cindy's Wolfheart Stories, we tell tales that burn with the same silver flame that lives in Luna's heart. Welcome to the pack. Welcome to the story. Welcome home.